Morning YouTube, it's 6 o'clock on Friday and I'm sitting on top of a hill in Devon. I'll just show you the view because it's somewhat stunning. I'm just on the edge of what's called the Sharpham Estate, which is, it's an estate, I won't bore you with the details. But it is quite gorgeous around here. I'm looking over the River Dart there. Dartmouth is down that way. Just fantastic. Really nice sounds up here as well. I'll try and make a video just recording bird song at some point. But anyway, I've been thinking something completely unrelated to this view and to this county and to nature really. And I was thinking about YouTube and authenticity and spontaneity. Because the nature of these YouTube communications are such that there's always this strange asynchrony, isn't there, between, well, several asynchronies. An asynchrony between this moment where I'm speaking, here now, just around about 6 o'clock on Friday, and obviously the moment you're looking at this. And that could be days, weeks, months, possibly years apart. But there's also the asynchrony between this moment when I'm making these sounds with my lips and the moment when I actually upload this to YouTube. And then there's that other moment when I don't know, write a bit of blurb about it and put tags on it. So, and that again, that'll probably be hours, because actually it'll probably be tomorrow now, because I'm not in front of a computer till tomorrow morning. So there's definitely an asynchrony in this video. And this flip camera that I'm shooting it on makes huge file sizes, and they can take 3 or 4 hours to upload, and another 3 or 4 hours to convert. So it's probably at least mid-afternoon Saturday if you're watching this. I'm just wondering what that does. I mean, it does a number of things, but I think one of the things I find interesting is about how, let's see if I can put this, any kind of notion of, first, emotionality, secondly, spontaneity, and thirdly, authenticity. And I think they're all kind of connected in this. Let me just see if I can work through that. I mean, the first thing is this relationship between authenticity and spontaneity. I think we have possibly a romantic attachment to the idea that when a person is operating spontaneously, without the operation of free will, without any rationalization, without the kind of cognitive processes of deliberation, certainly without any consultation with anybody else, when they just react, there's something very special about that. There's something very I can't think of a better word than authentic. There probably are better words than authentic, but there's something very telling about that moment, and it's revealing of the kind of mechanisms, their emotional and cognitive and personality-driven mechanisms, which allow them to spontaneously react in certain ways. So I think we get a sense that we're finding something very particular about the person when they do something without deliberation. The second thing is that emotionality thing. I think when a person displays emotion spontaneously, again, that's considered to be revealing. And if they think about it first and then they display their emotion, there's something funny about that. That's acting or recreating or simulating or something like that. Yeah, so there's something about that. And there's something authentic about emotions anyway. I think we like our emotions to be spontaneous and pure in that sense. We don't like. I think we have a tendency to distrust people who don't use their emotions in a spontaneous way. Okay, so something about spontaneity, something about emotionality, and something about authenticity. But all those things break down in this asynchronous medium, don't they? Not because of the asynchronous nature of your reception of this video and my delivery of it, but in the asynchronous nature of my making it and then my doing something with it subsequently and uploading it. Because that's a deliberation moment, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, if I was to do something spontaneous now, I don't know what it could be, but if I was to do something completely spontaneous now, driven by some emotional urge or driven by some moment of anxiety or moment of passion, that would be fine. But presumably by the time I get myself in front of a computer tomorrow morning, I will not still be in the heights and the throes of that emotion. So to kind of upload that video would be a little bit contrived, wouldn't it, I think? I suppose the moment I'm thinking of, the YouTube moment I'm thinking of, which really reminded me, which came to mind when I'm talking, is something that Venom Fang X did in one of his later videos. I didn't really follow the Venom Fang X saga. I kind of picked up the details of what it was about, but I didn't really follow the details. But I did watch one of his videos he made relatively late on in his career on YouTube, in which he was doing this thing where he's got this green screen behind him and he's talking to the camera. At a certain point he just kind of loses it or gets frustrated with himself, or he's kind of overcome with the urge to tell some kind of truth, and he reaches behind himself and tears the green screen down. You know, so he's just so this fake background is just kind of ripped away, and there's just his bedroom wall or something like that, and he continues talking in this notionally authentic style. But given that we're watching it on YouTube, and of course I watched it on YouTube, whilst you're watching this simulation of an authentic moment of spontaneous emotional outburst, you kind of know that in order to get that effect, he's had to take that video footage, which may have been produced spontaneously, put it in the camera, lay on the green screen effect, you know, do the editing, upload it to YouTube, put all the tags in place. So it isn't really spontaneously. It isn't spontaneous about it really. There's the free won't it should have been in operation. There's plenty of time for the free won't to kick in. I'm saying free won't because that's the term. I can't remember who used that term there. Probably Benjamin Libet, I think. He says we haven't got free will. You know, and when you're in a moment of spontaneous, emotional, authentic outburst, let's call it, you're not operating under free will. You're driven by the Newtonian machinery of emotional authenticity. There's no free will in operation there. But Libet says that what tends to happen is that often gets referred to a second processing unit, if you like, sent up to the House of Lords, and it can so we can veto any particular spontaneous action that we do. So we might not have a free will on an emotional primary functioning level, but we do have a secondary cycle in which we can operate a free won't. We can resist the temptation to do something. And it seems to me like this circle of YouTube, of uploading and editing and all that kind of stuff, provides that moment, whether we choose to use it or not. But if we chose not to use it, as Venom Fan X didn't, he chose to not only keep the piece of footage as it was, with this supposed authentic outburst as it was, but also treat it and give it a proper green screen effect. He chose not to use the veto and decide to suppress that or not present it. He chose to simulate free will, I suppose. I think the same with some crying videos I've seen on YouTube. I've seen a few videos in which people cry, and I always find that slightly surprising. I don't know why I should really. But I always think, okay, you've cried, and then presumably you've got over it, and then you've taken a footage of you crying, you've maybe edited it possibly, and then you've uploaded it and you've given it a title, Me Crying. I don't know. I guess there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a criticism, it's just an observation that usually those moments of emotional authenticity derived from the spontaneity of an action are usually kind of vetoed in day-to-day life, but for some reason they're not vetoed necessarily on YouTube. They're represented, even though they do to me look a little bit contrived. Anyway, back to the view. Look at that, isn't that nice?